Greetings and God bless. I just wanted to kind of process an experience that I had the past couple days, and just this past like couple of years, where people think that they have a right to be brutal, savage, attack you personally, attack your beliefs, and you cannot say anything, and anything that you say is going to be twisted to imply that you are attacking their person or their beliefs. And this is just a really good tactic of a malignant narcissist, I guess. And just it's just plain dirty. It's very interesting. So I had kind of connected with somebody I knew from years ago, and they started off all innocently asking me my thoughts about the science about the current issue right now. And so I sent a lot of information, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm really open-minded." And after I sent information, they were like, "This information is inadequate. This information is from the internet. This information doesn't have sources," even though the information did have the sources listed. It was just like a couple, like it was as if they just read like two words, after the introduction or something like that. And so then I was like, okay, if you won't read what is on the screen capture, I'll type it out. So you can put it into the search engine and see it through whatever source. I gave a PubMed thing and a CDC thing. And even though I was like, it's right there, they were like, "You're not giving me sources. You're just a conspiracy theorist." And and of course, this is what most of the people in my family and people I've known a long time are doing. So, I've just been used to this the past, I mean, even more than just 2 years. I mean, this has been going on with other things for, decades. Um, and, but what was interesting is this latest encounter. The person was calling my God a bloody God, a blood God, like as if God likes blood. And I mean, where did this come from? I'm just showing like CDC information and the PubMed, right? Like, and then it comes out that they had the popular thing, the popular status symbol. And that's what I realize is I think some people are very insecure. They're very superficial, and they are just waiting for. They don't even maybe even have a morality. They may not have morality. They may not have character, and so they are just about what display can be made that gives them status in this weird world, in this sick, evil world that we're in. And so, finally I had enough. So I sent like these patents, and I sent, I mean, it was a couple of patents, that had a lot of minutia. Because I was like, okay, you're not wanting to take a look at the studies, you're not wanting to take a look at the CDC, so I'll send you these patents. And then I sent this other series of links, to ask other questions that also were from the NIH and the CDC, and and I brought up that this is like it reminds me of the World War II domestic terrorist group that is known in history. And then this person was like, I grew up in a Jewish family. It's so interesting. And like, what is so interesting is this person, last I knew them, they were a PETA activist. PETA activists will treat animals that they don't know with so much more respect, dignity, and care than they will treat people that they do know. PETA activists hate humans. And oh my gosh, if you happen to be a human with a different thoughts than the PETA activists, if this person had a choice to execute me, I think no problem, no problem, because that one has done it before. And that's the irony, is like, people, the people who are for this whole lockdown situation, they're also for execution and whatever you want to do with these fetuses. All right, you know and it's so incredibly blatantly hypocritical, because they want this psychotic domestic terrorist group that seems to have taken over the world. They want everybody else's life to be ruled by them. They want everybody else's life to be ruled by their fears. And they want to go travel, they want to go do things. So they want everybody else to be sanitized, so that this psycho can go about and live their life. But everybody else has to submit to terror and murder, just so these psychos who have such a seared conscience, because they are godless people. And why these people are so psychotic, why people are so afraid of the air, is because they need God, and they're so devoid of Jesus. And so anyways, the person was then attacking me for comparing what's going on to the World War II domestic terrorists. Now, if we look at what is going on, you know what? She's right. What's going on now is worse than the World War II domestic terrorists. Yeah, she is correct. What's going on is so much worse. Children have been traumatized for years, literally years, and it's likely going to continue because of people like this, because the psychotic people who are so proud of the infection status, who get so much out of this narrative. They get so much pride and so much confirmation from the diagnosis, from the sacrifice, from the suffering that they have had. It is so sick. It is so despicable. Lord Jesus, take us home soon. I mean, wow. So, and it's so funny because I keep on, this is the second time somebody's like, don't ever talk to me again. Because I was talking with another person I knew who's very active in the alphabet community, and just exposed their younger siblings who were then molested. But because they exposed their siblings to this predator who then molested the siblings, the person didn't take responsibility or see it as such. And so I was saying that what's going on, like, there's the sexualization of children and the trying to normalize adult to child sexualization, pedophilia, the normalization of pedophilia as a problem. And, I just brought it up because I think it's an important issue in the alphabet community that needs to be addressed and that needs to be objected to. And it was provocative, but it's like that's the elephant in the room. If I'm talking to somebody in the gay male community, I want them to be clear, like no pedophilia. I'm like, and the fact that I even brought it like this is a concern of mine, and that this person got very offended and said, "It don't, if you think I'm, supportive of that, don't ever talk to me again." And I'm like, I mean, it's progressive liberals have sheltered themselves from the evidence of what Hollywood has been saying. Like there's pedophilia, and it's a generational thing, it's a systemic organizational thing. There's plenty of information out about human trafficking, child human trafficking, and like the liberals, progressive liberals are more dedicated to hiding the fact of child human trafficking and pedophilia and human sacrifice. The liberals are so invested in hiding this fact. They flip out when there's reference to it. And you can, I mean, just like with this other person providing CDC, NIH, PubMed information, like you can provide it in many different ways. Links, spoon feed the links. And there's this uncontrollable hostility towards you where you are they can't tolerate your memory. They can't tolerate anything about you uh because of just having a topic. So I guess that's like that thing about shooting the messenger, and I'm a messenger, I guess. And I don't know how to I don't have the patience to um take 10 years to work somebody up to discussing the topic of domestic terrorism and traumatizing children for psychotic people's whims, and uh, and I mean, it's hard to believe that we are in this place, and it's like I'm just not very experienced. I don't really know how to navigate all this hostility. I mean, the world is already a hostile place for people in my demographic, and then just to be um, kind of a unique thinker, uh, it's even more challenging. And so, what we are in is a Holocaust. According to the VAERS database, it's about a million. Um, I'm not going to say what, and if you don't know what the VAERS database is, just look it up, VAERS. And lastly, what is interesting is this person used to be really into David Icke, who talks about reptilians. And so then this person was saying that reptilians is a slur against a certain demographic, a certain ethnicity. And I mean, you just can't make this up. It's like I started out with just here's the NIH number or NIH link and a PubMed number and a CDC link, like descriptions. And I didn't even talk about reptilians in any of my correspondence. Like this was from a like a post that I had made like weeks ago. So it's just like, wow. I mean, like the people, they attack me personally. They attack my spirituality. They attack my God. They didn't come. I mean, and And they said, "Give me information, give me sources, give me valid sources." I gave them three-letter agency information, which they never read, and they just told me everything. I'm just speculating. So, like, who are these people? These people are running the world. How is the world still functioning if there's such inept, incompetent opponents? Because this is my opponent, like somebody who won't read, and so and they're just going to be like, I'm not going to read what you say. I'm going to disapprove of everything that you've said, and I'm going to call myself scientific and righteous and academically accurate, even though I have no academia. What I have is an emotionalized uh, breakdown. I have an emotionalized psychopathic attack for you, and I am valid because I am angry at you. And this is how we've landed in this decline uh, of this country, of civilization as a whole, and of humanity itself. Because people are having temper tantrums, and that's their MO. That's how they control everything. I'm going to have a temper tantrum, and I'm going to have a temper tantrum uh, to control you. And I guess that's how everybody let themselves be. They're going to let themselves be controlled by these people with temper tantrums. And so now people are, putting harnesses on their own faces and their children's faces and doing, when's the arm salute going to happen? Because the Jewish star is starting up, I mean, that's with the yellow, did you get your piercing and the poison juice poured into your bloodstream? Did you start the genetic modification humanism thing? I know Jewish people, not somebody who lived with a Jewish family. I know people who are of the bloodline of the Jews. They don't want to have their skin penetrated and have genetic modification or any weird chemicals. They don't want fetal cells in their body. They don't want monkey cells in their body. They don't want luciferase in their body. And they don't believe in Jesus. And they still don't want that crap. But you, psychopathic, temper tantrum, adult baby, that thinks that just because you were very sick, that you have all this privilege. You have a privilege to attack other people. You have a privilege to attack somebody's God, and you have a privilege to just destroy a human interaction because you want it your way. Because you feel so upset. You feel so upset because you're messed up. You feel so upset. You're so scared of everything because you are messed up. All you people who are scared of something, you're scared because you've got an issue. You need to take some homeopathy. You need to do some healthy practices. You need to get some therapy and whatever else that you need to do. Get some nutrition. But just because you have agoraphobia that has gotten so bad that you're afraid of the air, okay? That's your issue. And the whole world does not go into a mass psychosis and shut itself down because some people are afraid of the air. The globalists who like this whole lockdown thing, they're not afraid of the air. They're jet setting about, they're doing whatever, they're doing their secret rituals and whatnot. They're not paranoid about anything more than, trying to avoid getting whatever is a normal thing that people get. Like we get the flu and pneumonia and Lyme disease and like real infections, parasite infections. Excuse me. So, we are in need of God more than ever, and I know I need God more, and I need to ask Jesus for strength. because it's upsetting. It really it's upsetting how aggressive and how um, brutal and savage uh, people are. I mean, whether they're people I've known fairly well or whether they're family. I mean, they don't. I mean, maybe everybody is like this. Maybe everybody attacks people and insults people deeply all the time, and then they go get drunk, and then it's okay. But that's not my way of doing things. I don't think that's constructive. I don't think that's uh, it's not me. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I think maybe I'm too honest or something like that, or I'm too direct, or um, maybe I'm a little provocative because I'm interested in what I'm interested in, and sometimes that's not like knitting. I'm interested in things that are um, dire. Like preserving humanity, preserving civilization. Hey, how about saving your soul? You know, and that's what this is all about. So the whole world revolves around human trafficking and child human trafficking. Why does the whole world revolve around human trafficking? Because satanic, Freemasonic organizations have been well established for millennia, stemming from Nimrod, who is a Babylonian thing. This is not an ethic. This is not a Jewish thing. This is not a Semitic thing. Like Babylon is different. You know, it's like the Hebrews are different than Babylonians. Um, and so human trafficking, the most valuable thing is probably adrenochrome, and and if these things weren't real, how come there's so much stuff so much stuff in the media that's appeared maybe in the past 10 years about cannibalism and pedophilia, kind of grooming kind of stuff showing up, and how come there's 800,000 children that go missing every year in the United States? We have the National Security Agency that's watching all of our emails, that's taking watching all of our calls. But there's cameras everywhere. Everybody has a camera, so everybody's under surveillance. But they can't track all these missing children. They can't track all these missing children, or figure out who murdered when you find these bodies, because they're in on it. And I'm not the first person to say this. I'm telling you what is in the news, which is what is available on, looking if you look in the CIA materials or the FBI or other very legitimate researchers. So human trafficking makes the world go round, and there's a lot of degrees of human trafficking. The worst of it is child human trafficking and sex trafficking, and but this also extends to other realms. Human trafficking can be done in employment, and illegal aliens are subject to that because they don't have a whole lot of rights, and employers know that. Not only, is it illegal aliens or adults and children being sex trafficked, but there's other types of situations where there's human trafficking that may not involve sex or being an illegal immigrant. So, and there's a lot. If you just look up in your area, look up human trafficking, advocacy organizations. And unfortunately, some advocacy organizations are infiltrated by traffickers themselves. And there's not a whole lot of oversight there's so much evil that goes on. It's really hard to keep on top of it all. And a lot of people, even activists, are skeptical, or they're burned out, you know, or they have their special interest group. You know, they're only interested in a certain demographic of a certain age in a certain circumstances. So we live in this established Freemasonic Babylonian world, and it's ruled by Satan. And this is something that the Old Testament has described and the New Testament has confirmed. And we're just really getting to experience this. And I just don't know how much more I can take, because it's just painful. It's a very just not a lot of like, where are the real people? So what just makes me realize we are in such a miraculous situation is, so we have this large group of people, or apparently large group of people, that are so terrified of the air that they want everything to be shut down, and they want the whole world to conform to their psychoses, to their twisted, disgusting, dehumanizing mindset. So they want the world to conform to them. And so these are the people that are running things, running the power company, running the water company, running the roads and whatever, right? We have these incompetent, inadequate, poor excuses of human beings that's running everything, running the schools. And yes, there are some good people. There are some real, genuine souls out there who are just like still willing to endure amidst this nightmare that these twisted, sick people make life to be. And so I'm just reminded that God is just keeping the lights on. God's keeping the power running and the internet and the water, because the psychotic, twisted, disgusting, poor excuses of human being, they make the workplace a horrible place. They're disgusting, they're vile, they erode the dignity of the human experience, wherever they go, whether they're the customer, whether they're the worker. And so there's very few people, like the only people that are still there are those who are so deprived, like they can't work for themselves. So there's some last remnants of humanity that are working these horrible jobs, working for a horrible person, working with horrible people, working with horrible customers. And these customers with twisted minds, and these bosses with disgusting minds, and there's like these remnants of these precious souls that somehow still manage to wake up and tolerate this horrible workplace, tolerate these horrible customers, these horrible bosses, these horrible conditions. And God bless you. God bless those people who are sane and who have their human dignity, and that allow other people to breathe the air. And if you want to participate in satanic ritual abuse on yourself, if you're a masochist, all right, go do your masochism somewhere else. But you don't get to do your sadistic satanic ritual abuse on me. And you have no right to do your satanic ritual abuse on anybody. You don't even get to do satanic ritual abuse on your children. That is not, once you are abusing children, that is against the law. Not only the human law, it's against God's law. So anyways, thank you for listening. And yeah, this is such a painful experience, but I know God turns everything for good. And so I just pray we all get closer to Lord Jesus Christ. God bless.